Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society, and nothing here is ever to be construed as hate, medical, nor legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time 7 days a week right here on the RealPublicRadio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History, unearthed for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way, 7 days a week on the RealPublicRadio.net, Free America Radio Network. Somewhere out there, it's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Stand by for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, and still time to call your friends. We'll be right back.
The missing dimension in world politics is the spiritual dimension. The problems of life cannot be solved by material means. Modern civilization is missing the point of life. Human life is meant for understanding spiritual values. Real knowledge is knowing yourself, what you are, what God is, and understanding your relationship and duty to God. It is our duty to understand God, abide by His laws, and learn to love Him. Then all of our problems will be solved. When men are not governed by God, they will be ruled by tyrants. The material world is just like a prison. The spirit soul is imprisoned in a material body which is imprisoned in the material world. We do not belong in this material world. We are spirit souls and belong to the spiritual world. Modern civilization is wrongly directed to the fulfillment of sense gratification, the basis of material life and a barrier to spiritual realization. The demonic believe that the enjoyment of the senses is the ultimate goal of life. However, it is not possible to become peaceful and happy in the attempt to gratify the temporary senses. The result is usually the opposite. A materialistic culture based on sense gratification agitates the mind and senses. Unless one controls the mind and senses, one cannot make any spiritual advancement. The great sages of all bona fide religions were completely free of material attachments because they knew that spirit is permanent while matter is temporary. Our present culture would have us debase ourselves and become more and more entangled in materialism so that the path to the spiritual world is blocked. The demonic wish to make this planet a closed system where it cannot function for the purpose it was intended. The material world was created to give man the opportunity to purify himself of his material consciousness, for the aim of life is to go back home, back to God. The demonic cannot go back home until they rid themselves of their demonic mentality, and so they wish to make it impossible for anyone else to return home. This is the ultimate goal of psychological warfare, to entangle man in materialism so that he cannot return home back to the Supreme Lord. Mind control in America. Break it.
And welcome to Forbidden History Live, the series, ladies and gentlemen, on Ask Dezert-Owl, the original thought transliteration project, and I'm your host, Dezert-Owl. And good to have you. Hope you're telling your friends about the broadcast. We're making history, being a part of history before we are history. And welcome Maria on the chat. She's been bringing on some good questions on this program, and I got 4 of them actually lined up by her tonight that she dropped in the comment section several days ago. So we'll go there. I've got a follow up on the flood as well. There's so much that can be said about it, and I forgot a few things that are highly relevant. And then Damien, also out of Western Australia, has some more questions. And don't know if he'll make it on here or not, but I told him it'll be at the beginning. I try to answer questions at the beginning so people can know where to find them rather than have to, sift through the long program. We always try to do that at the beginning. So if you have a question and you want to bring it on, that's how we do it. Okay. So, and you're welcome to call in. Of course, we do have a call in on number for our Skype, and that's 740-936-7720, 740-936-7720. Or outside the U.S., you might want to call a toll free for on our Skype. It's Free America Radio, all one word, free as in freedom, Free America Radio, all one word. Okay, it says out of Kingsland, Georgia, but I'm in Millersburg, Ohio now, and very good. And so talking about the flood of Noah, and I'll do this before I do the Q&A, because it's not too long and it's short. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna then and we can pull that down, Ninja. That thing is just too, but we're gonna have to fix that because it's so in your face. It just really distracts me when we pull it up like that. And so thank you. So yeah, I saw that. Thank you. We're gonna start doing the alphabet tonight, and we're gonna show the words that we use. Bad signal. Bad signal. How bad? Well, well, I'm not dropping off. I'm mine is not buffering or anything. I can hear it on my end. There's nothing happening on my end. Okay, so we'll keep going. And all right, thank you. And so we're going to begin the alphabet because I'm doing some reading, and you hear me speaking in original thought, which is the original Aramaic for RK Malik. The original is RK Malik. There's your archive, and then the Malik is the mother's voice. The Lek is the voice, the tongue, the voice of the tongue. So these are all in these words, and what they've done is they've given us words, which the word itself means war of death, because the original terminology is Eshavor, which means at the royal center. And so Eshavors um, are what we're going to be building is the Eshavor alphabet, and the letters starting with the letter A and then B, and which is a corruption to the V, and so on. And we'll show you these archaic spellings of these words because they wanted us stuck in the Hebrew and Greek, but we're not. Uh, because they control that, you see. And but what's prior to that is what was free flowing. Nobody controlled it. It was the common of vernacular of the Aryan race. It's not to take away from any other race, that were, because it was for the benefit of all mankind, but it came through the Aryan race for the benefit of everyone else. Mine still says I got one watching now, and I know that can't be right. Ninja, so what does yours say on the side? Uh, okay. Okay, so we know that's not right. There's at least 3 or 4 people that are on right now, and So we'll keep going. We'll keep going with this. We're having a little bit of technical buffering down there in Australia right now. They got everything bad down there, so go figure. Uh, and well, I guess we can't say much for up here either. But so let's. My signal's better. Thank you. So we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the flood. And so I'm going to pull up a graphic and let me see which one I got here. Okay, there we go. Well, before I go to the graphic, I'll just say real quick that you know, the one thing I didn't mention on the flood presentation last week is that it's common knowledge and it's reported by other scholars and archaeologists that there's literally over 200 civilizations under the water in the Mediterranean Sea. I had mentioned near Turkey and Greece that there's areas where it was unlawful to go scuba diving. They didn't want people going there because these are ancient relics, and that I guess they would tip people off. So they have a no swim zone in certain areas, and it's shallow there, so it's not like it's right near the edge of the water. So 200. So go figure. There you go. Right there, that alone is the premise that that's the Great Flood. So whereas the gentleman on his presentation said, well, the last flood happened a million years ago. Well, if it happened a million years ago, there wouldn't be 200 civilizations that are under the water. You see, because the last flood happened just 5,000 years ago, approximate. And you wouldn't have roads like on the island of Malta, that cobblestone roads that go into the water. You see, so yeah, the flood is a late event, and it happened every 150,000 years, give or take. Okay, and so that we got that taken care of, and then the on the Mediterranean, to show again a metaphor for an island. It's not, oh, it's a peninsula. Let me pull up this graphic. I got to do screen share first. Let me do that, and then I'll show you. And share screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, and I'm going to pull it up now. So, okay, now it doesn't let me go to my tray. Here we go. Stand by. Okay, pulling it up now. And so our graphic good, Ninja? All right, thank you. So what we're looking at, of course, is the North African continent, and we see the Strait of Gibraltar right over here, the 2 Mile Strait. That's 2 miles wide. Okay, that's approximately 11,000 feet. You can see, of course, right across to the other side, and then the water rushed in, and came all the way over here. And the reason, again, the Black Sea cannot be the Great Flood is because Noah lived here in the center of the earth, the navel of the earth, Jerusalem. Okay, and so they would have probably had their ark somewhere down here below the Nile Delta, the Nile River area. There was probably a lake down there, and they probably built it next to the water. Um, we don't have any way of knowing, but they lived here. So they're not going to walk all the way over here to build a boat when they live over here. They utilize the services, if you read the Colburn, of Akhenaten and that culture, because they acknowledged the truth that there was one God, and Melchizedek was his administrator on earth at the time, and they together with they all say Khufu built the Great Pyramid, but there's nowhere anywhere that it says Khufu. This is all made up. We got to know they lied to us about everything, and the only way you're going to figure it out is if you can piece the puzzles back together. And so the parallel story with Melchizedek being the Hyksos, or the shepherd kings that came in and shut down the priesthood, according to Herodotus, for over 100 years. And then also the story of Akhenaten, the same thing. And he let the Hyksos in, and because it was the shepherd kings, meaning the ones who came down from the sun, the They're, because these were Aryans also. In Mesar, they were Aryans. They were all brothers. They all knew their great father Adam, the story. It hadn't been too long ago. This is before the flood. And so they shut the priesthood down, and then they prepare, because the signs are in the sky. Whether it's the binary twin called Nibiru, or Planet X, it's likely that's what occurred, because according to the Mayan calendar, every 5,000 plus years, then you get these events that happen. And so I think we just had one, but it was minimal. But yet you can see the sun. For us older folks, we know the sun is blazing like a blowtorch when it used to be passively orange. And you could look at it at any time of the day without being blinded, but now you can't. So bad enough that the ozone layer is depleted, but the sun is also blazing, giving us a double whammy. And that's why more people are getting cancer now than ever before, especially those people who work outside in the sun. Where was I going? So the reason I'm bringing this map up, oh, okay, well, tier, okay, before I do that, I'll bring up the other graphic. I'll do the big one last. So let me minimize this and then pull up, come on, pull up the graphic. What graphics am I pulling up? Oh, I got it on, oh, wait a minute. I know something is, I had grabbed two graphics, and I'm trying to figure out what okay, I guess it's on the, I didn't, okay, I remember I saved them, but I don't need them. I got them. I still have these websites up. So we're talking about on the Mediterranean shore. In other words, let me, I wish that this tray, you know, when you're sharing the screen, you can't go to your tray. I got to fudge it every time. I'm sorry. Yes, I hate this technology. So what, I get confused, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, what am I doing? Okay, I'm going to try this again. Okay, so right here on the Mediterranean coast, this is what we call Palestine, or where the Philistine lived, but also the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians had uh, work, their headquarters, among other places like Carthage over here in the Levant. They had their headquarters in Palestine, and so there was an island, a peninsula, excuse me, a peninsula there, and it creates a metaphor for the Great Flood. And I want to, okay, so here it is, and it's spelled Tyre. Everybody pronounces it Tyre, but it's not Tyre. It is Tyre. Let me see if I can get bigger on it. Let's see. No, that's as big as it'll go. It's pronounced Tyre. Tear, like a teardrop, because it became a metaphor. It was teardropping into the Mediterranean, and so it was referred to as the tear for the Great Flood, a teardrop in the water for for the Mediterranean flood. Okay, and then here we can see it a little bigger. It's like a mile long. Okay, and it's not in most of the pictures that I've seen it in. It was always rounded. It was a rounded tip, just to make it look like a teardrop. Here it's more accurate to form, and but yeah, so that's a teardrop, and that's again a metaphor for the Great Flood. There's all these different um, you know evidences and signs of the Great Flood, from the past. And so I'm going to minimize that now and go back here. And so the last thing I wanted to show is how Africa is the movement party here. Okay. When you look at Europe, you see all the mountainous uh, regions, right? All these mountains here. And this is because Africa, look how big Africa is, and how delicate and fragile and broken up Europe is, right? And so Africa is the one that's moving, and so I'll give you. We'll look at Africa in a bigger picture real quick, just to compare. Okay, so let's look here. Okay, so you can see Africa is massive, massive. Already, that's not even half of Africa, and you can see that it can contain probably five European continents. 5 European continents could fit in here. So this is the power boy, all right. And so it's Africa that's moving. It's not Europe. It's Africa, and when it pushes and closes that strait there, that it's another mountain range. That's what it does. It creates another mountain range. It connects the mountain, I think they're called the Ural Mountains, all the way down this way through Morocco. Okay, so I just want to point that out, and then so we can see it better here, and I think I can blow it up a little more. And so when this is closing up, it's Africa pushing against the gap. And so what I noticed was, what looks to me like the pivot point. Because if this is pushing, this whole thing is pushing, the pivot point is like right here. And what do you see right here? You see a chasm. You see the Red Sea, and the Red Sea is a chasm because of the action of the tug and the pull of the earth. And that explains also why the Nile River turned red, because of the ionized oxidation of iron oxide in water when the volcanic activity that was going on. The island of Santorini was right here during the Exodus, and it was the biggest volcanic explosion in the history of mankind. Santorini about right over here, somewhere like that in this area. And so that volcanic activity was relevant in the Exodus. And so it's just like, right here is the Dead Sea, right? Here it is, right here, the Dead Sea right here. It's really small on the map, but it's the lowest point on Earth. Just like all of this was below sea level, this is actually now the lowest point on Earth. I don't know how far below sea level, but maybe about a mile. I can't remember now, but it could be that far below sea level, 5,000 feet. And that's not really too dramatic. And so what happened when, Sodom and Gomorrah and the land, this area, the 5 cities, it blew up. It blew up because of the gas deposits underneath. And this is known as one of the most volcanic regions on the planet. Next to I guess in Indonesia, and maybe one other place, around the world. But this whole area is fragmented and has faults and fissures everywhere. Okay, especially in this area right here where it all comes together. So you can see that the Red Sea then can pull and push and pull, because that's why it's got the gap there. You see, because it's fractured. It's fractured because of this tug and pull, tug and pull, tug and pull of the African continent, and probably because of an external force, and the planet, the binary twin that comes in every 5,500 years. So that's why the Mayan calendar was established by the Mayan people. They had 3 calendars. One was a solar calendar, one was a spiritual calendar, and one was a reminder calendar of cycle. So yeah, they may have had more calendars than that, but they had at least 3. So I just wanted to share that with you all. This is the greatest story, and nobody tells it. Nobody, other than that gentleman, you know that I just played on Thursday. That was the first time I'd ever in 67 years ever heard anybody talking about the real flood. This is the flood, still there. Okay, still there, and not going away anytime soon, but maybe we are. So, okay, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And so we're going to take a quick break, and then when we get back, we will. I see Maria's got a question already in the chat. I had your 4 questions good to go, Maria, but let's see what you got here. If the lost Atlantic city really existed, what the Bible says about what does the Bible say about it? There is a connection with the Noah's Ark. The city even been found. This city. Okay. I'll tell you what. Let me take a break, and when I get back, I'll address your questions. I was going to do Damien first because he had 2 short ones that'll be easy to answer, and then I'll focus on your other questions first because you submitted them very nicely in 4 parts, and I think it'll be part of the answer right here. I think you just posted part of it, but I'll go there first, and then we'll see what's left when we get back on that. Okay, so I'm glad you tuned in. It's not giving us a count on additional people watching, which is usually the case. They want people to think that nobody listens to our broadcast, and that's okay. We're the underdog. We're the oppressed. I'm oppressed here locally by Freemasons, and targeted and threatened, and had all kinds of games played on me. And it happens also here as well. It goes with the territory. When you tell it like it is, when you can say it better than virtually anyone else in many areas that are relevant to our truth and who we are, where we are, why we are, when we are, and what are we going to do about it? So it's okay. I'm very grateful for the persecution because the Schultre's original word for scripture says that in Yeshua you would suffer persecution. So it's on cue. And one of my classic sayings to a lot of my friends, in the past used to be, so if you're not being persecuted, then you must be doing something wrong. Because my persecution has been ongoing for virtually nonstop, in my life, one way or another, whether family or stranger or friends. Stuff happens when you have surrendered to the force of the Yahweh, the great spirit of life, the great Father, and misnomered as Yahweh, misnomered as Lord. And those are the things we're going to talk about. We got a dictionary we're going to start on tonight. I can't wait till we get there, but we're going to take questions, Q&A next. And so there's still time to call your friends, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're listening in and, our numbers are down, you can hit us up, on the chat if you want to say hello real quick. We'll be right back. And with a little more of what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here, because somebody's got to do it.
Waves are coming in. There Waves are coming in. Waves are coming in.
And welcome back to Forbidden History Live, the series on Ask Dezert-Owl, ladies and gentlemen, the original thought transliteration project, making history, being a part of history, because somebody's got to do it, and talking about things, and from a political science to a historical, and according to the spiritual connection that is wrapped with everything, because spirit is what brought forth the creation. And don't forget Dane Wigington, okay, the guy at the tip of the needle, ladies and gentlemen. Support that work, okay, and tell friends, because that's the most important issue on the planet. Uh, and yeah, we were biologically made in a long process. Although man himself was spontaneously generated by the Elohim, created separate from all other nature, separate from all other animals. All of the everything here on earth evolved but one, and that's man. He was spontaneously generated by the will of the Great Spirit through Elohim, which is a corruption for Zulafame, most correctly, original. And and so we have to wake up. We have to wake up to the higher nature, and recognize that the fact that, like, if you look at the simple way to say it is, you look at all of nature, and all the animals, they've got clothing, right? They got fur or feathers or scales, even. Those are the more primitive type of creation, but the more similar in nature towards us are animals with fur, and birds with feathers. But when we come into the world, we come without any protective covering. And so we have to put on clothing. And so we're the only one that actually comes um, without covering. And therefore, um, it's telling us that there is something there is something more that we need to put on. And it's not talking about clothing. It's talking about the true covering, which is the great breath of the wind and fire, or the Holy Spirit. Okay, so that's what is needed in our spiritual walk. That we have to realize that we're there. There's something that needs to be filled within us. That is an experience and an event that is supernatural, and it's in essence being born again, or becoming the second born creation into the higher realm. This is the great mystery. This is the intention of all creation. It's all about that. That there's a harvest going on, and the harvest began 2,000 years ago, uh, and um, and so the spirit comes when one is ready. Okay, so this is important because they've mixed up all the ideas. You know, all the Jesuits running all the different traditions are all, you know, mixing up the stories and making it all confusing, so that nobody can ever figure, the real patterns. Because we talk about patterns, and so you can see these patterns in the old covenant stories. They're there, and they are pointing towards the future when Yeshua would come. And so the old ancient stories are metaphors and metaphysical symbols of our spiritual journey. The promised land, they had a real promised land called Israel, but that was not the real promised land. It was symbolic. It was called the land of flowing with milk and honey. Milk is Malak. It means the royal messenger, the white messenger, the Malak, what is easy to receive, supposed to be, meaning the symbols, reading the symbols. That's what we talk about on this program, how to read. And so the land flowing with milk and honey, the Malak, which is the message within the symbolism, and then the honey, which is once you get it, once you can read it, then it's sweet, and it's the one eye. Honey is two words, one eye, and that's again, right in our face. These Aishavors, once you learn to code the lexicography, how to read letters like hieroglyphics, then you don't miss it. When you know the original root forms, you don't miss it. Okay, so let's continue here. So Damien in Western Australia, he's got two questions here, and he says, "Hey, Desert, is Hebrew roots messianic still Judaism? Is it tradition of man? Okay, is it a tradition of man?" Well, just want to point out that, like with all traditions, even the bad ones. I mean, like what Catholicism really is, we know, and what the genocide they perpetrated on people around the world, we know. Ask the natives up in Canada, in particular. Ask the natives from 100 years ago here in North America. But and there was always good people that were in there. They didn't want to participate, and they were there like saviors in that wicked culture, because they couldn't be, the slime that so many of them are. And so Hebrew roots is another name. Ignatius said, it's either Ignatius or Polycarp. I get confused between these two. They were the next generation after the who we call the apostles, which is correctly the legates. And he said, if there is any, if we take on any other name other than that, the people of the way, then it's a fiction. That we don't have the authority to name ourselves something other than the people of the way. And so this is, again, what I tout as being the original thought, and it's true, because Levi is a corruption. Levi means the way, and so they were the tribe that didn't own any property. They didn't have an inheritance on in a piece of real estate in that the Asher Reuva Israel back then. And so they were a sign of the one who was to come, where everything was provided for them. They needed not work. They didn't need to plow. They didn't need to cut timber. They didn't need to build buildings. Everything was provided for them as the priesthood. And so that was the finger pointing to the future, saying, this is the way we live. We don't claim the earth, and everything is brought to us as we need it. It's brought to us in the great mystery. And it's called the footstool, that the earth is his footstool. And when he needs to bring relief to his followers, he knows where to get it. He brings somebody from out there in the darkness to assist you on your mission, and they may not even know what you're about or how they're assisting you. But that's part of the great mystery. So Hebrew roots, like all other names, are in error, only because they're claiming something that was not authorized by the sovereign, by the great breath. and and so messianic, again, it's a mess. You see right there, you got the word mess, and it's a form of the word mass. So it has the element of the Catholicism in it, and Judaism again. Another that's Youthaism or Judaism is also a misnomer. Excuse me, I got to take a drink. It's a misnomer, okay, because Judah was a national state, not a. It's not a religion in that sense. It's a national state. Like saying if you're from New Jersey, well, even if all New Jersey were Christian, to use that terminology, you know, you're not a New Jerseyite Christian. You're a Christian separately, and your nativity is that you're from New Jersey. So Judaism, again, like they like to use the term Judo Christianity, you know, and that's an oxymoron. So everything's been mixed up, and none of the terms are correct or original, and therefore they are deceiving. Okay, so now the second part he has is the Kabbalah. And by the way, when I mentioned the Mishnah the other day, I said that in the Mishnah it says that the Torah means um, Talmud. I meant the Kabbalah, not the Mishnah. The Kabbalah in particular. That in there, it says that when the word Torah is code for Talmud, and certainly because Pentateuch is the 5 books. Pentateuch, penta for pentagram, 5 points. And again, so the word confusion because they're controlling the narrative. So is Kabbalah scripture or Judaism? Well, again, it's neither. Kabbalah is well, if we want to think of as Judaism as a religion, but they stole the name. These people were Assyrians, Babylonians. Okay, that's who they are today. They are not Israel, never were Israel, nor were they ever Jutha or Judah or Judah. We got to pronounce it 3 different ways because they've corrupted the word. And I try taking it back so people can see the evolution of that. So Kabbalah, they had nothing to do. I was reading today, profound history that came out of there, and so we're talking about a Babylonian Assyrians who claim to be, just like they claim to be, Turkey, they're Ashkenazis also. There's French who are Ashkenazi, there's British who are Ashkenazi, Khazar Aryan. They're everywhere, and they pretend they take on the culture wherever they live, and so they're like I say, they're Islamic in Turkey, but they are Khazarian Jews. They are what do you call it? Stealth. They're stealth Jews, and so this is the problem that we have, is because they are in all the around the world, virtually we could say every nation of the world one way or another, either politically or literally, um, controlling the government naturally through banking, of course, and so that's what we have. So Kabbalah is look at the word there. It's the seeds of Allah. Okay, and so it was Alberto Rivera who came out of the Vatican as a Jesuit, and he quit because he found out that the Vatican was operating a secret mission to control mankind and to deceive him and commit genocide and horrific crimes against man, and that in the secret meetings in the Jesuits, he then was told how they had created Islam to destroy all of Eastern Christianity. Okay, all of Eastern Christianity, and so everywhere you see Islam today, all of Africa, all of Middle East, all that area, and up in the Eastern European steppes and headed towards China, all that used to be Christian, all of it, and now it's all Islam today. They committed a genocide program over the last since 600 A.D. So for 1400 years approximate, they have been enslaving and murdering uh, passive peace-loving, innocent um, followers of the way, and also the original Uthaian, or who we would call Judean, or the remnants of Israel. They were murdered. They were also murdered. Thousands of them at one time, to genocide the original tribe that came through the Red Sea, through with Yahweh, and so these are the accounts that I had learned about and read, and so our history is just it's all been controlled by somebody else, ladies and gentlemen. So, all right. Looks like Maria's having a beer. I can't see what that small icon is. Looks like she's having a beer on all of this. I can't blame her. I think I'd like to have a beer right now myself. This world is so sick. Uh, I'm just tugging on your shoulder there. I don't see what that icon is, but so anyway, symbolism. Optical. Okay. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, yeah. All right, very cute. So I don't. Anyway, let's move on now. So look at we're actually on Maria now. So thank you, Damien, for your cues. I sure appreciate it. And now we're gonna minimize my Skype here. Don't forget, we do take calls. If you want to call in, love to hear from you. You can just give me a radio check. I don't care. You don't have to have a question, or if you just want to comment on the program you've been listening in, you're welcome to do that. And so let's see here. Let me minimize these things while we're at it. That way we're going to be a little better on our signal, hopefully. And that we can close that. And now on to Maria, or she's got. I've got the window open. She put a question on one of the promotional YouTube slides we sent out there, and not interested in that. Okay, so thank you. Okay, this was 4 days ago, and then I'll follow up on what you've got in the chat there, Maria. But you said thank you. I missed it for 3 days. I finally found that some of the comments didn't make it through, and they got stuck in the back office, and I had to approve them, and so that's where that was hiding on me. I never saw it, and so hold on a minute there. I just messed up. Okay. Um, Thank you. She says, thank you. I have a few questions. First, why do we need a king? Example, the present King Charles of the United Kingdom, if they don't have any power. Well, they do have power in the fact that they got a jackboot and a billy club, and also, of course, other forms of military capabilities. But they're they're there as the protector of the Vatican banking trust. They're there, in other words, they look like they're the supreme, because they call them king and queen, and everybody bows down to them and worships them and thinks that they're everything. And uh, but the terminology is that they reign. They don't rule. If they rule, then they run everything that's going on. But the parliament rules. So the royal family is just there as a figurehead, and they reign, and they create the diversion. So everybody's looking at them. Like when you watch the documentaries on the royal families, and all the different generations, or the wars. If you're watching about the war of Scotland with England, or any of it, you never hear about bankers. You never hear about the banking power that's running the show behind the scene. So that's that. So they want you looking at King Charles, Prince Charles, now King of England, now the head of all international Freemasonry. They want you looking at him, and they don't want you looking at the banking that's his boss. The Rothschilds tells him what to do, when to do it, and how much to do it. Okay, and go clean toilets. That's what their power is. They're not there wanting everybody looking at them. They just want them to think that Great Britain just went to war with Turkey, or went to war with the Falklands, or whenever they went, and so they never tell you who really calls the shots, who's waging the war. And the Rothschilds always bragged about it in their different quotes that we bring up every now and then, that they don't care who makes the law. The one who prints the money makes the law, or that they wage war on mankind, perpetual war, and that they control all sides, and therefore it doesn't matter who wins the war because they always come on top. You see, so it's a front. It's another front, another front, another front. Everything's based on fronts. And then you said, I noticed that many people don't like him. What has he done for that? Well, the guy, hangs around with pedophiles, number one, child molesters, murderers, and of all types. And plus, they've been in the royal families for the banking have been engaged in opium and heroin and all the drug running that the world could ever endure. They've been involved with it, with the secret societies. Okay, that's the Freemasonic operation with the other agencies, like over here CIA, or over there MI6. They're the ones. They're the dirty men. In other words, the banking families want to look clean and pure and pristine, and so the dirty men are the ones who go to war. The dogs of war. Okay, doing their master's bidding. Yes, boss. Yes, boss. Oh, let me put my dog tags on. I'm a good puppy. Let me go to war. Okay, and they got two stupid people on each side of the battleground, fighting at each other, shooting at each other, and neither one of them hates the other. They're shooting at the other one because they said they're bad. They're bad. So let's kill them. Yeah, let's kill them. They're bad, but they look like me. Wait a minute. What? Can they be that bad? Maybe the people running the show are the ones people need to be focused on. Okay, so second, why is the Vatican hiding thousands of archives from the public? Is it something to do with their dark secrets? Okay, yeah. Well, they're hiding our history. They're controlling our history, and so they've got all the history there. They probably brought over the important books from Alexandria, the Alexandrian library, and then they burned the library. They burned it on. They blamed it on the Muslims. They said they used all the books to boil water to take baths over there in the Alexandrian library. They got the Christian library from Caesarea in Syria and took it over to Turkey, Constantinople, in the Library of Sophia. Maybe some of that made its way to the Vatican. I don't know. We'll never know these things, but we can. But basically, the Vatican, in that the smallest state in the world, it literally has, if you took the bookshelves and put them end to end, it's got 25 miles of bookshelving, 25 miles of bookshelving. Okay, so that's got to be the most concentrated library in the world. So, okay, I hope that answers that question. Then number three. Okay, and is it something to do with their dark secrets? Well, naturally, they're pretending to be benevolent, pretending to be, to use the term Christian, to love mankind, but yet they burn people at the stake. And these are at the Ashkenazi Khazar Aryans, who today call themselves Jews. They're all the same club, whether they're Israel, calling themselves Israel, or calling themselves the Vatican, or they're calling themselves the banking, or they're calling themselves the royal families, or they're calling themselves the head of corporations. They are all Ashkenazis with very, very few exception. Okay, Ashkenazis, or AKA Jews, and so they run the world for the unseen hand, which I talk about, all the time on this broadcasting. So they have dark secrets. First of all, who they are, they go back to Babylon. They are the front men. Okay, and now that leads into the next question. Number three, why Israel? Why do the people of Israel say that they are the chosen ones? Well, there you go. You see, because it has nothing to do with the sacredness of spirituality or of you know, being the real Israel when they're not. What they mean when they say they are the chosen, they have been chosen from the beginning of recorded history by the ancient Aryan Vekoresh, the watchers who fell correctly in the Indo-Aryan. Vekoresh, meaning the watchers of the way, of the essence. And they said that they knew so much that they need not work, but that they maintained the universe, and that their puppet kings, who started out as the redhead spotted, the children of Cain, the brothers of Cain, because they were stained with blood for having killed his brother Abel. The stain of blood, redhead, the fiery red hair, and freckles all over their body. We call them Irish today. They were Celtic way back then during the seafaring ages. But then once they didn't need the Celtic anymore, after the flood, and within say 2,000 years after the flood, give or take, then they then started, because the Aryan race was getting so big. Then the ancient Aryan Brahmin pushed out their Aryan cousins and put them into Mesopotamia, put them out of the nest and into the Middle East, in between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates, and then the fertile ground, that's the Fertile Crescent, and they got them to start building their civilization there. Formerly, it was was a Sumer. Oh, geez. Yeah, the Sumerians. I'm trying now. My head is spinning, and but the yeah, Sumer and and all of that. They were peace loving back then. The original civilizations that were there, Aryan civilizations before the flood, they were not on the agenda of the ancient Aryan Brahmin, who call themselves the Brahmin today, which is originally the word sovereign. And so, so once the Aryan race was getting bigger, then they gave them their orders, and they started pushing out the redhead spotted into Europe from the Middle East, and then they set up shop with the Assyrian Empire. And so the Assyrian Empire then is the first official, uh, right after the Akkadian default, because the Akkadians only lasted about 200 years in Nineveh. And then right there in the Fertile Crescent, the Assyrians come to power, and it's the first official major military on the planet, the biggest military on the planet, official military force, unlike anything ever seen. And then they're there to wage war on mankind for the Brahmin and the unseen hand. And so this is where they get the claim that they are the chosen, because the people that are waging war on mankind today, coming after all of us, who control all the money, control all the media, control everything, they claim to be the chosen, and they were chosen to to create perpetual war on planet Earth against all mankind. There is no freedom, there is only slave management. The only true freedom is in the sovereign of the one who made all things. Because if you're not in with the one who made all things, then you can't keep your soul alive, and you're not sovereign. You're dead. If you're not born a second time, then you're dead. And so that's basically it. They're claiming to be the chosen, to wage war on mankind, and to have a party on all of us. And so you say, are they? Or number 4, if the lost Atlantis city really existed, what did the Bible say about it? Well, no, it's not. See, the fact that it's round. I tell you what, I got to turn off that air conditioner. Hang on a minute. All right, sorry about that. And so we're having the hottest day so far this summer, so we're feeling it. Okay, if Atlantis, so the fact that they all want to say that Atlantis is circular, and it's because that it's the sphere, because all of the Earth is the Atlantean pyramid civilization. It's a one world order. It was a one world establishment, one controlling faction. One puppy dog says, "Yes, sir. Yes, master. What do you want me to do? I'll go do it." You know, it's a one world order. And so the front men, the chosen, who are the Babylonian, Assyrian, they then do whatever they're told to do and move the chess pieces on the board as their sovereign Brahmin priesthood tells them to do, run by the Hindu front. And so that is basically what is going on. So this is there a connection to Noah's Ark? Let me see here. So the lost city of Atlantis it really existed. It is a one world civilization. So Atlantis is a metaphor, and it's a metaphor also for how the old world was destroyed. Because when the Atlantic Ocean rushed in after Africa and Europe pulled apart, the Atlantic Ocean rushed in, flowed down 1,000 or couple thousand feet, maybe as deep as a mile in the deepest areas, and as a result, that civilization was destroyed. So Atlantean implies how they were destroyed. They were destroyed by the Atlantic Ocean, and so that's been played up into an idea that is not original. And so there was no continent out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean that they say, like they say. You'd see it; it's not there. There is some areas where the land has gone underwater, like in the Caribbean, and um, and even in the Gulf of Mexico. They talk about near Cuba. There's something deep down. These things obviously can happen, but they're not the Atlantean civilization is a one world civilization. At is the alphabet. Atlan um, implies all land, and because At is the complete creation, the alphabet from beginning to end, and so that's how the lexicog is read. And so there is a connection with is there a connection with Noah's Ark? Well, only that it's the flood. It's the Atlantic Ocean. It's the Atlantean flood. That's what it is. The Atlantic Ocean rushed in, and they had they ever found the city? No, as I just stated. Okay, that's why they keep looking for it. We know we're going to find that Atlantic City one day. Oh, Atlantic City, that's New Jersey. Yeah, that's where I grew up, the Atlantic City. But there's no Atlantean civilization. It's not circular because they describe it as a perfect circle. They show the moat and everything, and that's the tip off that the Earth is the circle. They didn't form a civilization with rings. Nobody would do that, and that's because there's nowhere that it would be built like that. And so sorry for the long comment. No, that's great, Maria. We got to get this stuff out and repeat it for other people. So now let me get back to where I was. And Karen Carl, you would she welcome to our broadcast, and she says live. I finally caught you live. Well, better than catching us dead, I got to say. And it's Karen Karin. Yeah. I would love to get into the info of Alexandrian Library. Yeah, me too. Sorry it burned. Um, what they would do, they would take every ship that came into port. They would then go to the captain of the ship, and they say, "We would like to copy your books," and they and I don't know if they threatened him and said, "You're not going to leave port until we do," but I think I remember a story something like that. And so they literally every ship that came in, if they had books, the scribes at the Alexandrian Library would copy those books out, give them back their original copies, and that's how they got books off of these ships that were coming and going. And then you say they keep trying for the one world odor. Yeah, that's right. I love that one. The one world weird odor. Is it weird or wired? World. Okay. And yeah, it stinks, of course. All right. So you had one more. Let's see if and Geoff Austin. Good to see you. Listening from Western Australia. Okay, that's another friend down there. And are you with the New Trust Technology group with Andrew and there's a group down there that are studying the trust law. Okay, and so where is Maria's question now? Okay, back up because she posted a little bit. If the lost Atlantis city really existed, what the Bible says, what does the Bible say? No, yeah, see, the scriptures don't say anything about Atlantis. Okay, is there a connection between Noah's Ark? No, and even the has been found. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, so thank you, Maria, for that. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go. I need to pace my voice, and I got to take something for my throat because now we're gonna get into the alphabet and the words. We're gonna start in alpha today, which is correctly Alpha, and we're gonna work our way down in the alphabet because when you hear me read what will follow, which is the original God from the original gospel, and oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do Gaskell yet. I got one more to do. All right. Well, before we do the alphabet, I've got one more short read, and then we'll go to words. And I'm from the old school. If you all hadn't noticed that, and I can't do a 10-minute program. And I used to listen to radio hosts back in my day. My favorite was Chuck Harder, who had For the People out of White Springs, Florida. I mean, he was a classic, and he said it better than anyone else. And he was from New York, but he was a guy who figured out how to fix things, problems, and so he created his own radio network, and going against the one world order, and they took him down. He was bigger than and better than anything that there ever was. But that was like in the 1990s, 1994, 1995. And when I was doing my delivery of chemical products with my 18-wheeler, my tanker, I would wait till the commercial to unhook my hoses, because I was just totally in there. And he interviewed people from all different areas, people that were exposing the corruption. That was when we really thought we were still free back then. But now, you can't even say it the way it is anywhere practically, and it's getting well. I can't get an interview. I mean, go figure. No, I can talk about things from last century when I hung out with all the great researchers, and there's nobody that even cares what I have to say, literally. And I keep sending out emails because it's all the controlled opposition now. The enemy has taken over the baby, and they literally are, not who they say they are, because you got to know the issues. If you know the issues, then you know what they're saying is not true, not correct, incomplete, misleading, and a lot of entertainment. That's what they're into. Entertainment, making people laugh, laughing with each other, having a big joke, but never able to define the things as they really are, because if they did, they would lose their job, because their job is to create smoke screens and to deflect and to distract and to give you false hope and to on and on. So yeah, I've been there and done that for a long time, and so this is probably the last run of the mill here, and trying to get it out before they pull that proverbial plug. So we're grateful to Ninja Cat because she does the engineering for me. I couldn't do it without her, literally, because I did it. I was doing it when she jumped in, but what I'm saying is, it helps me a lot because there's only so much one individual can do, but we don't get algorithms. So if you like what we do, I'm really grateful. Some new friends came in. We do it by word of mouth because we don't get promoted out there. If you found us on the side margin of YouTube, then that's a miracle, because we don't get, when we go live, we don't get the people coming in. We don't. So that's the problem, okay? Because they cut my numbers, everything, it's unreal. All right, enough of that. Let's take a break. When we get back, Gaskell, and then we'll get into the dictionary. We'll start the dictionary. I'm going to do a dictionary on this broadcast, A through Z, and I'm going to show you in particular, the words that are in our scriptures are Schultres. Words is a shavor, scriptures is word, Schultres. All the words that were changed, okay? They were all changed. We're going to show you to them based on original, not based on Hebrew, not based on Greek. That's the diversion. That's where they wanted you stuck. We're going to take it back 5,000 years prior to Hebrew, prior to Greek, and what was breathed into Adam, which is still available today because they put it in our face, but we don't get it because nobody's telling the forbidden history like we are. So stand by for that broadcast coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, and don't go away. Just call a friend. Why don't you?